Donald Trump is now exhibiting corruption so blatantly in public that it is stunning the people that sit around him. Donald Trump had another meeting yesterday at the White House, and Trump is talking about the gold card. This is now live. I looked at the application yesterday. We're going to dig into that a little more in a later segment. But the gold card lets you buy citizenship to the United States. Here is Trump's sort of justification, explanation, I guess you would call it, for this. Listen, get a load of this.
And it's really two gifts. It's a gift of getting somebody great coming into our country, because we think these will be some tremendous people that wouldn't be allowed to stay. You know, they graduate from college, they have to go back to India, they have to go back to China, they have to go back to France, they have to go back to wherever they came from. Very hard to stay. It's a shame. It's ridiculous things. We're taking care of that. The companies are going to be very happy. I know Apple's going to be happy, but a lot of the companies, nobody talked to me more about it than Tim Cook. He said it's a real problem, and it's not going to be a problem anymore. As you know, they used to send people up to Canada and other places, other countries. So we solved that. And the other thing is, it'll take in, we think, probably billions of dollars that will go to the Treasury of the United States, that will go to an account where we can do things positive for the country. So it'll be a great thing. We'll take in, I think, billions of dollars.
So a lot here. There's a lot of material here. First of all, when Trump talks about billions of dollars are going to come in from this at $1 million a pop, it is relevant and important just to remember that there are pay for citizenship programs in many countries around the world. And they don't get a lot of participants, and they are way less expensive. We actually went through the numbers when Donald Trump first announced this initiative of the Citizenship Gold Card. There really aren't that many people globally that can afford this, even though I know that Trump knows a lot of millionaires. Trump also has dropped the price significantly from $5 million to $1 million, probably recognizing there is not as much of a market at the $5 million level. Was it 5 or even 10 originally? In any case, they've dropped it to $1 million. The other aspect of this, and this came up at Donald Trump's rally in Mount Pocono, Pennsylvania earlier this week, is Trump goes, we don't want people from shithole countries, but we want Norwegians and Swedes and people from Finland and Denmark. The truth is that people in those countries are very happy, and very few of them want to move to the United States. Even if it's free, they're not going to uproot their lives to come to the United States. They're certainly not going to do it for $1 million or $2 million. So Trump, as many on the right often do, wrongly assess that most of the world would come to the United States if given the opportunity. Most wouldn't, and it really is mostly limited either to people who work in certain industries where the U.S. is really the place to be, or people who are in dire economic straits or in other circumstances where abandoning everything you know and often the language that you speak and everybody that you know seems like a good trade-off to take your chance in the United States. That is relatively a small number of people. Now, the other interesting aspect to this is the conflict that exists between a lot of the MAGA America First anti-immigration stuff, which Donald Trump paid lip service to for a long time, and the kind of reality of people like Trump, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, all of whom have said, no, we've got to bring people in. And crucially, Trump kind of gives up the game there because he goes, nobody pushed this more than Apple CEO Tim Cook, also known to some as Tim Apple. And that is a reminder that these are the quid pro quos. Tim Cook increasingly in Trump's circle. And now Trump is doing something that goes against what a lot of MAGA wants, but it is certainly something that Tim Cook likes. Here is Howard Lutnick talking about the pricing of this buy your way into citizenship.
Howard, maybe you'll give a little description of the Trump Gold Card, please.
Sure. So for an individual, it's $1 million. And for a corporation, it's $2 million. And as the president said, for a corporation, they spend $2 million. They can then have an employee, full vetting, the best vetting the government has ever done, $15,000 vetting to make sure these people absolutely qualify to be in America, absolutely qualify. And then the company can keep them here.
The primary qualification is that they have the $2 million.
And they have a path to citizenship, right? Obviously, they have to be perfect people in America, and having passed the vetting, after 5 years, they'll be available to become citizens, and then the corporation can put someone else on the card. So for a company, they can keep putting people on the card, one person per card, and for an individual, it's $1 million, and it's a gift to the United States of America, to help America.
What a gift. What a gift. What a gift. What a gift. So we're going to get back to the gold card and the sale of citizenship, but Donald Trump granting favors out in broad daylight. Trump also very casually mentioned, oh, well, we seized a tanker from Venezuela, and lots of other things are happening too.
Well, thank you very much. It's been an interesting day from the standpoint of news. As you probably know, we've just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, large tanker, very large.
Very big.
Largest one ever seized, actually. And other things are happening, so you'll be seeing that later. And
Big news day. Trump excited about the big news day, but it got a little risky when tech elements came up. And I want to ask you the following very simple question about the clip I'm going to play. Do you think Trump has any idea what the cloud is? Based on these 27 seconds of video.
We also are grateful to be joined by Enrique Lores of HP. So thank you very much, Enrique. Great job you're doing. Antonio Neri of HP Enterprise. Thank you very much. What's the difference between HP and HP Enterprise?
We focus on the cloud security, networking, and large systems.
The cloud's good. People have done very well with the cloud.
People are doing things in the clouds that you can't even imagine. Okay, so does Trump have any idea what the cloud is? Now almost a requisite of any financial or economic related meeting, Trump touts completely fake investment numbers.
You're looking at 150 billion. That's good. I don't know, Mike, am I allowed to ask you? You already gave 6,250,000,000. Do you have you stated a number that you're at for investment, future investment?
Well, if I think about all the, investment that we make with the American companies that are adding capacity, particularly around semiconductors, it's several $100 billion.
I think that's right. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It makes the 6 billion sound very, very small. That's very good. Antonio, what about you guys? What about you?
Please, everybody go around giving me these numbers of absolutely no meaning or substance. And then what is this really about? It's about the following, which is Trump's lies acting like he brought back cash in a bag from the Middle East.
So there's a big turnaround in 10 months. The $18 trillion, it's a record. There's never been a country that's gotten anywhere near that. In the Middle East, when I left the Middle East, we brought back $3 trillion and lots of Boeing airplanes, like 300. And Boeing gave me the award for the greatest salesman in the history of Boeing, which was a nice little award.
So anyway, as you all know, the American economy is $27 trillion. Trump didn't bring back $18 trillion. He didn't bring back $20 trillion. What Trump brought back are the generic and non-binding promises. And I don't even really call them promises, from various Middle East leaders who said, yeah, if you've got some projects that are a good fit, we might invest $600 billion over the next 10 years. And that's a big if. But Trump wants you to believe he just packed bags of cash on Air Force One and brought all the money back. He's going to keep telling this lie because it's all he's got at this point in time. Thanks for watching. Check out another one of our videos and make sure to subscribe so YouTube keeps our content in your feed. And if you prefer audio, subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or Apple.